6 years after Harvey and 4 years after Imelda, a Southeast Texas farmer's fight has made it all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. He believes the state should pay for the flood damage at his farm in Winnie. Good evening, everyone. He blames the rebuild of Interstate 10 for creating big problems on the land that his family has owned for decades now.
Ritchie Devillier says all of the extra concrete along the highway acts like a dam. 12 News reporter Kyle Orr sat down with him today to get his side of all this. Kyle?
Jordan, Brenda, Mr. Devillier and his family have farmed this land for 4 generations. They say until Texas Department of Transportation rebuilt I-10, they never had an issue with flooding.
900 acres of farmland turned into a 900-acre lake, not once, but twice.
North of 10, completely submerged, and that's happened twice. And when it happens, water is impounded on us for a week or more at a time.
Ritchie Devillier says the Texas Department of Transportation is responsible for the flooding of his land in Harvey and Imelda. He and his lawyer blame the highway's concrete median that was added in the early 2000s.
The Texas Department of Transportation built a dam along Route 10 that was designed to keep the south side of the road dry in heavy rain. And that means that when it rains heavily, Ritchie Devillier's ranch is now a lake instead of a ranch.
Devillier says the losses from the floods took a massive toll on him and his family's way of life.
We lost, I think it was about 60 head of cattle, 7 horses, and 1 colt. And numerous calves, just don't know how many calves.
Devillier's lawyer, Robert McNamara, works with the Institute for Justice, which describes itself as a libertarian nonprofit public interest law firm. McNamara says the state had the case moved to federal court. Most recently, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the state, and McNamara hopes the Supreme Court will feel differently.
This is a case about government accountability. If the government's going to turn a ranch into a lake, the government has to pay for what it's taken. We're asking the Supreme Court to enforce the Constitution and force Texas officials to do what the Constitution clearly orders them to do.
Devillier says that he wants what he's owed and that future generations should not have to carry the burden of the state's design mistakes.
I don't want to live in fear, and I don't want to put this on my children. Going forward, I'm not going to have them worrying about when is this going to happen again? You know, I'm not going to do it.
According to Attorney McNamara, the Supreme Court will be hearing the case as early as January or February of next year. A final ruling could come by next May. A rep for Texas Department of Transportation told us they do not comment on pending litigation. Live in studio, Kyle Orr, 12 News.